Tell the examiner as you approach the vehicle that your keys are in your pocket and your wheels are choked. Front of the vehicle. Say, my ID clearance and my turn signal lights on my truck and on my trailer are amber to the front and red to the rear. They are not cracked, not broken, and secure with no condensation. Windshield on the truck. The, the windshield is not cracked, not broken, and secure, has no illegal stickers, and no obstructions. The seal around the windshield is not dry, rotten, or frayed, and the windshield wipers are not cracked, not broken, and secure with no illegal welds, and the blades are flush to the windshield and not dry, rotten, or frayed. Mirrors on the truck. The hood mirror, spot mirror, and the flat mirror. They are all not cracked, not broken, and secure with no illegal welds, no loose or missing parts. The suspension on the truck. Say the suspension is balanced, and if it wasn't, I would place my truck out of service. The tags on the truck. Say the tag the tag on my truck and on my trailer is secure with no outdated stickers. The headlights on the truck. Say the headlights are not cracked, not broken, and secure with no condensation and clean and clear. Under the truck in the front. Say and point. No leaks, no broken glass, or no hanging wires. If I did, I will place my vehicle out of service, and all tires are properly inflated to manufacturer. Okay, go to passenger engine side and say the radiator and the radiator hose are not cracked, not broken, and secure with no leaks, and the hose is not dry, rotten, or frayed, and properly clamped. Say the alternator above the alternator is above the water pump and it is not cracked, not broken, and secure. No loose or missing parts, and it is belt driven. The belt is not cracked, not broken, and secure. Not dry, rotten, or frayed, and has no more than three-fourths of play. Say the bottom radiator hose goes to the water pump and it is not cracked, not broken, and secure. No leaks, no loose or missing parts, and it is belt driven. Say the coolant reservoir and the windshield washing fluid reservoir are not cracked, not broken, and secure with no leaks and should read between add and the full marks. The exhaust connects to the manifold to the rear and is not cracked, not broken, and secure. No with no leaks. If I had leaks, it will show black suds. Okay. The fuel tank is not cracked, not broken, and secure with no leaks, held up by metal and rubber straps. Cap is hand tightened with rubber seals and and a metal chair. The catwalk and the steps are not cracked, not broken, and secure, no illegal welds, no loose or missing parts, and free of debris. Saying point to all parts, the oil dipstick, the transmission dipstick, the air compressor, power steering pump, power steering fluid reservoir, and the gearbox. All these parts are not cracked, not broken, and secure, with no leaks, and should read between the add and the full marks. The air compressor and the power steering pump are gear driven. And how I would check my dipsticks, I will pull them out, wipe them off, insert them back inside, pull them back out, and they should read between the add and the full marks. Steering system number one. Steering shaft and the steering shaft linkage is not cracked, not broken, and secure, with no illegal welds, no loose or missing parts. Steering shaft should should have no more than 2 inches of play. No no debris, and steering linkage is connected by castle nuts and cotter pins. Braking system. Say ABS line and brake hose are not cracked, not broken, and secure. Not dry, rotten, or frayed, and no leaks. Brake chamber not cracked, not broken, and secure, with no dents and no leaks. Push rod and slack adjuster are not cracked, not broken, and secure. No illegal welds, no loose or missing parts. Have no more than 1 inch of play inside the wheel of the brake drum and the brake shoe lining. These parts are not cracked, not broken, and secure. No illegal welds, no loose or missing parts, not dented or worn dangerously thin. Suspension system, say leaf spring, U-bolts, seating on the axle, held up by hangers, and hangers have mounting bolts connected to the frame and the shock absorber. These parts are not cracked, not broken, and secure, with no illegal welds, no loose or missing parts, not shifted or missing, and no leaks from the shock absorber. Now walk to the driver's side axle and say, I will inspect the driver side braking system and suspension parts the same way I inspected them on the steering axle by naming all the parts, with the exception that there is airbags below, spacer, bracket, and a torque arm. These parts are not cracked, not broken, and secure, with no illegal wheels, no loose or missing parts, not dry rotting or frayed, no leaks from the airbags. Now walk to the trailer axle and say, I will inspect the trailer axle the same way I inspected the drive axle by naming all the braking system and suspension system parts. Walk to the front steering tire to inspect the steering axle tire. Say steering tire, steering tire not cracked, not broken, and secure, not dry, rotten, or frayed, with no leaks, no cuts or bulbs on the side walls. Tread evenly worn. Front steering tire should have no less than 432 in thread depth, and front steering tire cannot be recapped. All other tires can be recapped and should be no less than 2/32 in tread depth. I would check all the thread depths with a thread depth gauge, and I would check all tire pressure with an air pressure gauge or rubber mullet. Point and say, I would inspect my drive axle and my trailer axle tires the same way I inspected my steering axle, with the exception that these tires should not be mixed matched, nor should they be rubbing in the middle. Now inspect the steering rim. Steering rim is not cracked, not broken and secure, no illegal welds, no missing parts. Now doing to and say, I rim. Now doing to and say, I will inspect my drive axle rim and my trailer axle rim the same way I inspected my steering axle rim, with the exception that these rims are bud rims with no debris in between. Now inspect all lug nuts on the tires, on the steering axle, drive axle, and trailer axle, while pointing to each axle. Say that they are all not cracked, not broken and secure. None are loose or missing. If they were loose or missing, they would show rust or shininess. Now inspect all valve stems. All valve stems on my steering and trailer axle are not cracked, not broken and secure. No leaks and metal caps. Now inspect your axles. Say the oil hub on the steering axle and is not cracked, not broken and secure, with no leaks, no loose or missing parts. And I will inspect my drive and trailer axles the same way as I inspect my oil hubs with no leaks. Now close the strap. Now close and strap down the hood, starting on the passenger side and then to the driver's side. Move to the door. Say the door on the truck and trailers open and closes properly. The door hinges are not cracked, not broken and secure, with no illegal welds, and no loose or missing parts. The seal around the door is not cracked, not broken and secure, and not dry, rotting or frayed. While the doors open, say and point to the map light. It is not cracked, not broken and secure, with no condensation. And the three emergency equipment, 3 reflective triangles, spare fuses, and fully charged ABS fire extinguisher are secure. Say and point to the handrails, cable connector holders, and dummy coupling holders, and drive shaft are all not cracked, not broken, and secure, with no illegal wheels, no loose or missing parts. Point to the catwalk light and say the catwalk light is not cracked, not broken and secure, with no condensation, and say and point to the battery box and say it is not cracked, not broken, and secure. No leaks, no corrosion around posts and cable are not frayed. Say and point to the cable connector box on the truck and trailer. Not They are not cracked, not broken, and secure. No illegal wheels and no leaks. Say and point to the green electric line, red electric line, and blue service line. Say and point to the green electric line, red emergency line, blue service air line on the truck and trailer, and say they are not cracked, not broken, and secure, not dry, rotten, or frayed, with no leaks. Now point to the red and blue glad hands and the electric connector and say they are not cracked, not broken, and secure. No leaks and no loose or missing parts. Drop down and point to the air tanks and say the air tanks on my truck and on my trailer are not cracked, not broken, and secure. No leaks and drain daily, free of condensation. Then return and point to the fifth wheel and say the fifth wheel is properly greased with no gaps and sits on a platform, and the platform has mounting bolts. The release arm and the locking pins are locked in the lock position, which means the lockjaw is locked around the kingpin, and the kingpin is securely mounted to the apron, and all of these parts are not cracked, not broken, and secure. No illegal wheels, no loose or missing parts. Now point to and say the mud guards and the mud guard flaps on the truck and on the trailer are not cracked, not broken, and secure, not dry, rotten, or frayed, and not dragging. The DOT tape on the truck and on my trailer are not cracked, not broken, and secure, clean and clear. Now point and say that the left and the right turning signal, four-way flashers, and brake lights are not cracked, not broken, and secure, red in color with no condensation. The reverse light and tag lights on my truck and on my trailer are not cracked, not broken, and secure, with no condensation, and white in color. Say clearance is 303 and walk to the header board. With your left hand, hit the header board and say the header board is strong. The header board is strong enough for cargo not to crash through. Now point to the landing gear and say the landing gear is not cracked, not broken, and secure, with no illegal wheels, no loose or missing parts, and it is raised. It is in the raised position, and the crank arm handle is in the lock position. Then walk down the side of the trailer, pointing to the frame and the deck, and say the frame and the deck is not cracked, not broken, and secure, no illegal wheels, no loose or missing parts, and no holes in the deck. Now point to the ABS lights and say the ABS lights are not cracked, not broken, and secure, amber in color with no condensation. Then point to the back of the trailer ID clearance lights, brake lights, turn signal lights, and say they are not cracked, not broken, and secure, red in color with no condensation. Point to the tag and say the tag is securely mounted with no outdated stickers. Now point to the DOT bumper and say, the DOT bumper is not cracked, not broken, and secure with no illegal wheels, no loose or missing parts. Now tell the examiner how you will enter the vehicle by using 3 points of contact. Now enter the vehicle using 3 points of contact. While sitting in the driver's seat, put the seat belt on and lock it, and say the seat belt and the seat belt and the seat is properly locked. It properly locks, and the seat belt is not frayed. Now point to the mirrors and say that they are adjusted for me. Now hold the steering wheel and say the steering wheel has no more than 2 inches of play. Then turn the key on. Turn the key on and say, I am using the safe start to turn the truck on. Point to the ABS lights on the truck, on the dashboard, and say the ABS lights went out, and that the ABS lights went out, and that they properly works. Now now turn now turn on the truck. Now now turn on the windshield wipers and say that the windshield wipers are flush to the windshield, and spray the windshield wiper fluid on the windshield to show that the wipers are flush to the windshield. Now below the city now blow the city and air horn and say that they properly work. Now turn on your left and right turning signal indicators, four-way flashes, and high beam indicators, and say that they all properly work. Now inspect your gauges and start with the water gauge. Rise when the vehicle warms up, and if it reaches the highest number, I will put my vehicle out of service. Oil gauge should read between 5 and 20 psi when idle. The, the tactometer, speed monitor, properly works. Voltmeter should read between 12 and 14. Field gauge, half to full, and air gauge should reach the governor cutout rate. Now turn on your defrost and floor defrost vent to fill to the top, and underneath the vents to show that they are properly working. Now turn on the vents that blow on you, and fill the vents to show that they are properly working. Point to the air pressure gauge and say, I am now ready to perform the air brake test. Say the first thing I will do is push in the air. The first thing I would do is push in the parking brake valve and put the truck into drive to tug against the trailer brake valve. Now do it and say that the trailer brake held and it properly works. Now say I will pull the parking brake valve out and push the trailer brake valve in and tug against the parking brake valve. Now do it and say that the parking brake properly works. Pull the trailer brake valve out and put the truck in neutral and say how you would perform the service brake test. Now notice that my foot is not on the service brake pedal. Now explain the service brake test. Say I will put my vehicle in drive and drive and five and drive 5 miles per hour forward, and the vehicle should not pull to the left or right with no unusual feel. Now put 3 fingers up and say, I'm going to 1, turn the truck off, 2, turn the key on so that the dash lights up, 3, push in the parking/trailer brake valves, then do it. Say before you do, now I am going now now I am going to hold my service brake pedal down for 1 minute, and I should not lose no more than 4 psi for class A or 3 psi for class B. Don't forget to mention the class for testing. Mention the class that you're testing for. So if it's A, mention A. If it's B, mention B. Now do it. After 60 seconds is up, say I did not lose no more than 4 or 3 psi. Now say and do, I am going to fan my brakes down to 60 psi, and then when I reach 60 psi, my low air pressure buzzer and indicator should come on, which means that it properly works. And then I will continue to fan my brakes down to 40 to 20 psi, and my parking brake/trailer brake valve should pop out, which means that they properly work. Now say my air brakes test and my pre-trip inspection is completed, and then turn the key off and remove the key.